So this is devil countering science. This is operating under the thesis, under the theory that the devil is an archetypal criminal enterprise. For example, that knew that people defending roles with sciences that are no longer operating from the zenith already perfected quality of fact treatment nature in relationship to the identity of relativity, that is the in its identity of relationship to itself. Per science, that which is the identity of evolution's fruits and gifts, of Santa's clause. Its identity of relationship to itself and the value of that which is native pure, which the ancients all understood that and how everyone's native, pure. All exceptions in exception nature are in demonstration of it. For example, we are low identities of the law. We are beyond them too, but I mean, the immediate is forsaken. We're in a semi-ancient trap that came since before modern religions, greatly about this, but never that is allowed demonstrated. That and how that is the cause. The ancient, see, the semi-ancient method of messing with humanity, worse than organized crime method, worse than worst crimes method of getting everyone to blame other things, others, and themselves for the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts and natures, acts like predicate acts, natures like criminal ceases natures. They knew once they got people defending identities of sciences, identity of the great ground locations in relationship to that, as anything but the zenith, nature itself would continue to demonstrate negative value nature progressions, acts, natures like predicate acts, natures like criminal and seditious natures, mass wrongdoing. And that's what was the foundation of semi-ancient nations. That was the foundation of modern nations. Our founders did not have free speech. There was enough recorded for our correlation from then to us to know that. They could only be like this so many ways. Because the laws had the identities of nations extorted here and there, sickly, distinctly, specifically, effectively having kept how sickly, non distinctly from being discerned, and having kept that self valued. Because this was is the target of those laws that were here. And not just laws, database relationships, further and further to all identity of the ground with locations, mixed through other things that everyone saw, real, but not really what was causing, keeping, maintaining negative value nature progressions, acts and natures, and blame to keep them blamed on other things. That's how we're used remotely in database relationships since before computers. Even with computers, they have to show up to those locations. This was sophistication here before any of our founding parents were born. There's the pathology of homes when our founding parents were here. Before cars, everyone was extorted. Everyone was fact cheaping nature's slave, including them. Many ways. The only way other could be pretended is through comparison, not by accident. That's all that's been allowed is comparison, and not to help those hurt most by it, which we have to help reach out for now. Not with theater, not not asking for reparations with no reliefs, no means to fathom it. We have a tactically denatured relationship to nature. We have a tactically denatured modern nation foundation. We have the tactically denatured value between that, all three increasing. and the value of that and the value of that to itself, which is this is the science of evolution. So what we have to do is put rock, um, republic organization, coalitions in the most forsaken areas. We have to do something, and we have to mean stack on this. We have to use correlation to figure out what's going to mess it up before it does, and stack means to counter that too, not to counter, to get everyone to that identity of relationship to ourselves, our volume per its system, and that is its identity of relationship to itself, that which is the one that reveals meanings from nowhere. Everyone goes, oh, we didn't think of that. Oh, that's where did evolution come from? Came from its identity of relationship. No, the rest of space nature has no criminal foreign influences, especially ones legalized, all victim predators. Forgiveness is for this, where law has no means to defend its identity ground relationships and uses of fact cheap nature and of sequence nature already in us, at the same time in collusion with everything. This would really pushes the overt criminal enterprises, pushes people to call people criminals that like that, innocent people too. Interbranch. They're not supposed to be making allegations about faking things recorded into databases. That's what they do. Falsifying police reports, forging names, switching officers' names from various natures of departments. They were built needing to do that because of uses of every identity of the ground location for everything it's used for, child programs, everything. Off the record, on the record. They're keeping victims. See, science never need free speech. We need correlation of a nature that has integrity, which is this course. It is coming to, from, as, with, and for each value. One identity of value progression, that which is self-generating, as the zenith's value. The top of the Z points back towards A. And that's evolution's fruits and gifts, more and more. And that's X, Y, Z. They are bonded, as A and B and C are bonded. And though there are 10, two groups of 10 there. So, 1313 is the 26th letters. That's not like, I want to use the word perfect, because perfect is bigger than infinity. It's identity of forever that's bigger, that took possession of all parts of space nature. That is one identity of possession, and sequentially over itself, over its inherent active and progressive identities of volume. So where it is distinctly onto the inherent nature of volume, this simultaneously bonds the active and the progressive. Where it is simultaneously distinctly onto the progressive, it simultaneously bonds the active and the inherent. Where it is simultaneously distinctly onto the active, as it is onto itself as the same identity of volume. This creates a bond between the inherent and the progressive, which has the active between that. So that also encompasses itself with that value. And see, this is values course, which is in relationship to positive and negative. but it's also a relationship to sequence nature as identity is, as positive and negative are sequence nature. Not a doctor, not a lawyer, not a police form, not a criminal, not military, recorded, confessed, and by nations. They're involved with and as all identity grounds, locations originally and still. Treatments of positive, physical delusions, recorded self-value, all victims, but all victim predators, intersciences. Originally and still. These are not means. One way redeemed. So we're who wants to help? And this is what you do. You guys have complete control over it. And then we're gonna negotiate with all the people around you guys. We have to change the world by where change is positive or negative. So we don't have time for their games too with environmental change. That phrase. This is pseudoscience, where people knowledge of the sciences are getting over on people. They're involved with database racketeering that is from off those locations though, kept victim predators. Each identity of each branch has all the like just like each person, all the identities of the cells of your body, all the identities of your organs individually grouped in together. They are simultaneously a semi-nature relationship to your complete identity. And your complete identity is simultaneously a semi-nature relationship with where and how and why. Grouped ages, sexes, areas, species, complete identity of volume. Those are where and how they are three distinct, invisible, but still discernible. Visible, semi-invisible, still discernible. And with regards to their complete identity of relationship to itself. Where and how Earth is exception. Earth is exception. All temporary space nature are exception slash s slash exception nature. In demonstration of this nature, this identity of forever in generation of itself. So God is an algebraic variable in relationship to this method of evidence perception of communications and with sequence true. And with as where we have to back up what we believe is God. What we believe is true always, not denying exceptions and not valuing them denied or exploited or prevented from our discernment. We are to care for the order of the delicate finite. We are to care for the order of the heavy future. Here now. To the only way that should give the future and now means. Not these narratives with businesses and as business as usual, tactically denatured relationship to ground, tactically denatured modern nations, and the foundation between that. As that keeps identities that can't defend themselves and us from what originally and still use them remote. A whole bunch of bonded methods. So the species can get a gift too. But the only way it works, everyone has to do it. Send a gift. How? Because this evolution's fruits and gifts, they come by this identity of value progressions, identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that. Not per the theater, only allowed voice in semi-ancient times. This is your mind's free speech. They pretend that courts aren't involved with areas and with online and with mail and wire racketeering, worse than war crimes. Originally, still, of course, they are. It's recorded. They have conspiracy theories. They pretend to be against racketeering with crimes with other nations like Russians. They're recorded involved with racketeering with Russians. With the Leahy family too, forging names, switching names, doctors, judges, courts, people, all different courts, falsified police reports, all kinds of people using identities, fake conversation with people, fake ties to people. These are offensively predatory modern nations together, because this is also how they have the DACA, all these programs, how they have the shared policing of schools, how they have the same ones involved with overt criminal enterprises, especially where and how they have that mixed undercover. They're also involved in actual racketeering and furtherance of these over and uses of them the most, the overt criminal enterprises. You know what Joseph Mengele was used for? That's who if you want to hate someone for what happened against Jewish people and against everyone, because then would they defend it and blame the other things, others themselves, like blame on Hitler? What has nations leaders, each one forced to smile and pretend integrity, but the suit and tie are they hurt them. And that's not right. So the only way we could do this is simultaneous nature. We don't do it as a game, but it should feel like games where there's something wrong. So we had something wrong, so many things wrong at once, so long. Not by accident, they made all roles of self-value. Think about that. Those crazy laws they had. You go work and then you're going to be a slave. That was against everyone. They had crazy laws against everyone they could say. Think what they're going to do now. You're going to keep walking and you're going to be a factory manager. You're going to have to make treatments of positive. You're going to have to make treatments of values towards that, towards identity. Everywhere there is positive or negative, you could discern identity and its identity of relationship to itself and the value of that. That's what I was saying in the other video. So as bad as it is, that you could discern that and how nations are grouped with nuclear weapons, even other kinds, and all kinds of threats. I don't want to make everyone paranoid. I mean, I'm not saying the emotions work if we led to science. So this is we are an identity of its volume, its identity of volume, inseparable from each person as a value. It is what is coming to, not just from, not just with, and not just for ourselves. It's coming for it. So it's coming to, from, as, with, and for itself, perfection in relationship to the phenomenon of Earth's exceptions and exception nature. It is equal unto all parts of itself. But Earth is most probably closest to the greatest inherent nature of volume, that which will not mix with its identity of relationship to itself, individually and grouped, in relationship to the active and the progressive, where and how, when it is already sequentially um, most probably first, demonstrably first onto the inherent nature of volume, in and as what is self-generating, as this trinity, as its identity of relationship to itself, and as the value of that. You say, what about Jesus Christ? And I thought the Trinity was about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. But that's also connected to where the church was left with the republic slash us, and with the campus systems, with the sciences of modern nations, all exceptions to it, victims that blame the other cause, the real cause of other things other than themselves. Therefore, simultaneously self-valuing, no one not being able to tell the degradation of the science that goes by how we are individual nature of volume, group nature of volume, complete nature of volume, and then further with identity of sequence nature on both sides of this, identities of sequence nature, and that's where they have a shared identity, this identity of value progression per science. And see, this specific science doesn't stay locked in the locations it's at, but where fact keeping nature already seized identities, like with black. Anytime they made the identity that ratiocination and that pseudo ratiocination share simultaneously, our identity of volumes, actual honesty, was never allowed. Free speech to speak for what America was about historically and now. We have people who know the most facts, leaving out these most critical. I don't care where the last battle of the Revolutionary War was. George Washington, even with the French general's help, he had to come right here to meet him. Wethersfield, Connecticut. Could only semi-counter extort what he had to leave with overt slavery with color. And not by accident, that and how everyone had crazy slavery laws on everyone, what they could say. Of course, the value systems, value nature system, I can't help but be one. Value nature inside values nature. So each cell of each body is like a value nature. It is 5 identities of sequence nature. I'm not a doctor. It's discernibly so. Before, while being the value of the nucleus, cell nucleus. Before, while being the value of the cell body. Before, while being the value of the cell wall. And not only are the cell walls connected, but the value of their connection. And the value of that is connected to that too. And that's just like how the modern nations tactically denatured native ground, tactically denatured native education, native modern nations, zoning laws on top of that, tactically denatured value relationship between that, same way we are floating in space. There is one thing that is stronger than anything, but we're not. But we have fake. We have identities. She's the. I figured out. I figured out before. Every time when I try to type things, especially like there's like someone it gets blocked off. But one thing was important is about these people are making interbranch and intercampuses from off campuses and from off the locations of the branches. They're maintained originally through time, used remote as victims, but as victim predators. And when they do those acts with the databases, those lies, they translate to and as their roles further and further with everything wrong with areas. They have been lying about that. But keeping more and more people needing to value titles used for that. Value identities of titles and jobs used for that. Knowledge of the law. Knowledge of life to get over on it. This is timeless, forever scores. So I'll drop the force, vaccines. And this is another thing we'll couple this with. And I'll give you guys the organization of it, the Republic Organization Coalition. And you guys will write your book, the Republic Organization Coalition. And it's not just a book. And the other parts of the thing that only feels like game /S because evolution is that way. Humanity prey. That's why we have to realize that and how recorded actually how each identity of each nation was already used as a weapon against our own by people pretending to be against it at the same time misprision defenses of identities of each identity of each branch individually grouped and together each branch then the next one individually grouped it together everyone from off those campuses all associated with them their family members all victims per how everyone's speaking through others, forsaken. Each age of fact treatment nature with pseudo positives. They have lie progressions towards that. They already used each identity, the ground location, each human value. You can't defend that and afford free speech with truth and science at the same time. So we have means to instant reliefs. We have more millions of people that will like nothing like that. We can help the most forsaken what no one could afford individually grouped and together to help. We have to do it as a system, admitting worse than bottoms, admitting the forsaken. And what that admits and realizes in the science of discernment of, it's worse than just forsaken. It's maintained roles with it as breaching screens and as breaching tools. So they need to fight with identities of titles and stuff like that as strangers. They need people to make opinions about regular citizens with people offensively. Each identity of title, each identity of branch, because they're caught. Look around. See, we have cars now. We have machines. We have things we could build if we especially we unite as a species plan. Anywhere there are people are going to partake with criminal enterprises, with interbranch ones, which has only been standing since some ancient times. They want to debate that. Oh, well, let's frame it like this because we have this much time. They want to leave out the sequence shifts. They want to leave out how they fake recorded things into databases. They want to leave out how they manipulate juries originally still. That's all recorded, confessed, demonstrated. They want to make conspiracy theories against people who want to use basic correlation natures, simultaneously delicate and strong means. They want to keep strength dictated to and dictating collusion with theater fake integrity to and as the value of each location, area, and state of and as each modern nation, of and as each semi-ancient nation since before modern nations, modern religions, founders. Thank God for them, because they had to counter what is made individually grouped and together nations victims of what they simultaneously knew they could invest nations individually grouped and together, blaming on other things others themselves because they didn't know how to react to it. They didn't know what the agenda of it was, which is identity theft, as the value of the human identity of value progression, individually grouped and together. When we're valuing it as a science properly, it is discernment of that simultaneously, because when it's not simultaneous, it's not valuing individual first. It's pretending to be about positive, not by identity's course, by its actual course, always at once. Vaccines, free religion, free speech. Media recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they offensively steal people's voices, fake words, and fake locations. Each age of fractured by nature. Little kids, they have sick games through the kids in grammar schools, in the middle school, in the high school, so they just do it and start in the grammar school, so they can control where people are going to be in high school, and then they attack people. I'm not even talking about physical. No differences between people. I'm saying they make people pretend to fake locations. They have everyone involved with database racketeering, speaking through titles that have no more. That's what they heard. They left out a lot because these are people. Through time, I caught them further and further. Child offenders with the schools, our interbranch leaders, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, his co-defendants associated with people associated with him as Eric Jensen, Joe DeMauro. All these people associated with, I barely know, associated with database racketeering with the House/SMI area. No, they want to make personal because they're attaching everyone to falsified police reports. They're forging names and switching names. They have a Dillon family associated with this. Further, with the principal sex offenders campus, people, extended family members of one of the houses, further involved with forensics locations and with Connecticut courts, with through time. Racketeering also with a Joshua Julian on and off the Facebook page when they were forcing the principal sex offender with others. Also, interbranch uses of their Facebook pages for this. You keep my content. I'm supposed to ignore this. They have wire crime methods, mail crime methods. They lie about what you talk about over the phone. They put it. They pretend they had a conversation. You had a conversation with one of their officers because I went and his brother that went to my school. Bunch of them involved with identity thefts, racketeering, crimes with police equipment, crimes with kids, even sexual, even medical. There were a whole bunch of doctors recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. I never tried to contact Joe DeMauro. He used to come make confessions to me about stuff. He said that Eric Mendez, you had he's talked used to talk to. He used to say they used to have conversation about whacking off, and him having afraid to be too big, going to a psychologist. These are people involved with CCSU. These are people involved with a method where everyone walks up to people, and there are connections between that through time with this map I wrote all the way up to CCSU through towns, right along that route. And these are the people involved further with. I was in the World Trade Center attack context. I thank God. I'm sorry for anyone who got hurt in that, or knows someone who got hurt in it. No one will let me speak. They stole my identity. The people associated with the child offenders, even sexual. Now these are women interbranch. They've been stacking falsified police reports into databases, interbranch, and with New Brinspear Court, dozens of people since I was a kid. Prosecutors retired and standing. Now they have their kids involved because they painted themselves into corners, pretending conversations with me. They were involved with database racketeering when I was a kid. Roles with some Fred Grisey, people that went to private schools that lived on all involved with racketeering on all sides of the schools. Identity theft. I never hung around with my one time with my. I never hung around with my neighbor and his cousins. Now they're involved also with all these people at Trinity College and with CCSU, involved with on and off those connected campus, connected confessions, and connected racketeering acts rules with databases, forging names, switching names, for example, with the racketeering methods of the judicial branch involved with this. Many on and off the state of Connecticut judicial branch officers associated with this, and people with all the identities with like jobs with schools, jobs with shipping, jobs with in relationship to corners and along routes. Before that was manifest that way. Before our founding parents were born. The human value progression system, the human fact sheet nature was contained in a trap. Since before modern religions, greatly about this. The first part of the Old Testament and the first part of the Quran, people are so invested, already having been criminal ceaseless natures, pretending to be other, grabbing value treatments of positive and of identity out of sequence and in relationship to their opinions of logic when people speak. Like on Reddit, they have forget about it. I don't remember the name of it. One of those religious fake. They all, well, you have to put scholarship if you're going to be on this Reddit subreddit. Nothing is Reddit. This is everywhere. Even the amateur boxing. See, this comes from off the Reddit subreddit. I don't know the difference between a Reddit and a subreddit. A subreddit is inside. You can make your own Reddit on subreddit. I mean, a subreddit, I believe that's what it means on Reddit. But this is YouTube, and these are means to connect with that we're trying to do, not just divide us, separate us from our course, which is the three natures of volume difference, so we could see what real difference is. So we could see this identity of volume we are, its identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that, which is evolution's course and its fruits and gifts. So we all drop the force. Don't let any of those people speak about maturity, because they're fake. Let them follow mandated law and get me a response for the various natures of courts, forging names, switching names, roles, with dozens from my town involved with the houses and with this Phil Colella, and with these two Mendes police, with the house in my area, and with these Kerr family, with this Officer Jerry Miller, further involved with them with wire crimes, interbranch, with a Facebook racketeering, preventing me, worse than extortion, prevented me from doing business. There were also, they forged names, switched names of doctors. I mean, forged names of doctors. Faked whole conversations with me with those doctors. Faked whole conversation with a guy named his brothers, his son, the same name, whole family, women in the family, Leahy family, with a doctor, recorded and confessed and demonstrated involved with all these. I've never had a conversation in my life. They pretended through time with various courts, dozens of people at New Britain Superior Court involved with racketeering with them, Hartford courts with racketeering with them, and these people involved with others with military police with racketeering with them. Their patients that go in time racketeering with them. Get them to one name in sequence. They forge names and switch names into branch with them, distinctly and non-distinctly. This is what forgiveness is for. They don't know they're victim predators the same way the overt criminal enterprises are. They're recorded involved with racketeering with them with this, with the people as people interbranch, men and women, dozens of them involved further with the child offenders in the campuses, uses of their kids through time for this. So thank you if anyone is for coming out this evening. So we shut this down or gather around. Who wants to be the employee? Just write on a piece of paper. Republic organization, coalition. And then you're going to tell them, we're going to have us organized, and then we're going to own the book product. And we're going to be invested, though. We're going to do other things to make sure all the people around our area. And we're going to get, if we don't want, especially I want the area that wants to get out of it. Even if they want to stay with it, that's great too. But we're not. But if as long as they want to not accept means, we're going to accept below bottom. Evolution is science that reveals really what's going to cause evolution's fruits and gifts. And using the ground's identity of science. See, the ground has no criminal foreign influences. The ground's nature has no criminal foreign influences. Only through us are there criminal foreign influences. Too long, this little species. We're in a semi-ancient trap designed to cause negative value nature, progression, action natures. They already built identities, invested, having blamed other things other than themselves. Those identities of law and of branches of states and areas of modern nations, they can't help but self-value. Rolls with the trap all locations, areas, and states we're in since before nations A through Z. They missed it. They made everyone everyone victim predator. They stole their education. They had to miss it. They stole the republic. They stole their campus marcias. That's how we think. That's how we train in native pure. So boxing will also come on with this. If we get a group that will do this honestly to help, we're going to admit, because we're in a trap. This is a pathology of infrastructure, of means to it, designed to keep anyone individually grouped together, only capable of fathoming that. Not at the same time, hundreds of nations, suits and ties, weapons of mass destruction, pretending they're about positive. Each year they have those such weapons, they have obligations simultaneously that are increasing. To speak. They can't do it. They have market positions hostage. They have positive treatment nature. They have this is through time. So we need beliefs, artistic beliefs. This we want to work. We boxing. We're gonna make a martial art to get more. We have to mean stack. See now, but boxing we have to work for the world for this. And each nation will own its boxing for its pantheism, which we set up too. So which now there are huge buildings, like bigger than they show on Martin. But how they're trying to show that no one knows how to deal with it as positive. So everyone, that's just life. See, but this is the science you can't do that with. And that's what this is all about. This is our industry. Untapped, the greatest one, vaccines. The science is sharing identity. Now, this is to overcome fighting. It needs to. This is to claim not only violence upon your areas, but pseudo care. And all victims, they're experts in relationship to it. They're reliant upon it, not by accident. No one can fathom any other. We need to show. We have to think like for ourselves, for the world, and for our area. In other words, we're gonna make the ground itself, the ancient gaming system. That is the phenomena that works off the phenomena of how science true always, not denying exceptions, and with sequence true always. There are two identities of sequence nature beyond the before and beyond the Trinity. So we'll have again jealousy for the people around. So if we are going to get a whole building and the one next to it, we can make the means to bring reliefs and to change the nature of human fact, human nature, but not so just what they can fathom now from these positions. Once we just start going, it gets more powerful. So we train, and we have the industry of we can get YouTubers that will help us. There's how many of them before we could pay for it in the right way to do business. We start now with the science of overcoming that which is to our slavery, even including and especially distinctly not differentially in relationship to presidents, in relationship to kings, in relationship to pharaohs, in relationship to Hitler, but not in relationship to Joseph Mengele. See, this is about justice racketeering. That is inclusion with medical racketeering. St. Nicholas, they put in the innocent guy into jail. Even if I have no clue if that happened or not, and if that's the way it happened or not, because I don't believe I read that like that. I read something similar on Wikipedia.com. which they have some good stuff about. I don't know, just the basic. It's good nowadays. You look things up, but all that, the definitions have intertwined with it. Criminal foreign influence, tactical criminal foreign influences, victims though, but victim predators only having heard criminal salacious nature of positive treatments, justifications of that, then defenses of that, and that further. Humanity is an identity of negative value, nature, progression, and so we also can wanna we could do the same thing for. So we set it up as a game, but we're an industry, and we're like, in other words, this is a different telling of American history and of nations, and one that they won't tell because they are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated interbranch, self-valued, standing criminal and seditious natures, criminally legalized, self-valued that way anyway. How as victims, but as victim predators recorded too. Free speech is not. They even their inclusion. They have news steal us to fake words. They have their Facebook pages, interbranch and intercampuses involved with all kinds of child abuses. Way worse. Attaching the family members to fake conversations, fake words with the family members, fake relationships to others, fake locations, sustaining these crimes. Worse than crimes. They have the words crimes. They already use the word crimes criminally. On CNN every day. Victims, victim predators. Ask them to follow mandated law. They're being coached to ignore the branches of government. The courts are forging names, switching names roles, mail crime roles, wire crime roles, torture roles where they use your family members. Attach them to fake words, fake recorded locations, fake ties. That's recorded. I'm not missing something. They did that to force a principal sex offender with others worse on and off the campus. I don't know if worse in other ways too, with this on and off this 2-hour highway. I never had anything to do with these people. All exceptions, the whole groups they have involved with sequence shifts. All tied to the same house/s associated with this through time. And also further with Bob Chase. The Britain Superior Court recorded confessed further involved with 2 Mendez pleas, with Kurz, with people with the name K-N-E-R-R, K-E-R-R. Whole bunch of men and women on and off Fox Connecticut News, on and off WFSB in Rocky Hill, on off the locations next to it. Same people all tied to the same house/s. Further involved through time with the Joshua Julian, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with them with racketeering with a forensics location. Also involved with them with the co-defendants of former director of the FBI. So we have a lot of value as a news organization too, as we will develop ourselves as. And we just need who wants to be in the project. And we make that's how we get the neighbors and everything on the same page. We get reliefs because we have to do simultaneous nature because everyone's missing where the where the life progressions are coming upon. Whereas now, where we are quality as human fact keeping nature, they are getting and are having gotten over on you, guys and girls and gals. Specifically to keep blamed on other things and others themselves, the real cause of negative value, nature, progression, action, nature. Specifically to keep self-value how that already was. So we must liberate the American identity to no liberty, to no liberty. Just James Madison, Marbury versus Madison does not mean fake it. It means real justice must satisfy all appearances of real justice. Do not hide the finite and the active and progressive. Clear year after year after year. So we do this also. Pantheism is about the science of the identity of relativity as the identity of value progression, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously onto and as the value of all identities of value progression individually grouped and together. That at the same time, distinctly, non-distinctly, simultaneously, is a scientific value. We're not supposed to agree about the name of it. And we need to at the same time so we can establish what the finite, the active, the progressive, and sequence. There are 5 bonded identities of sequence nature. So, for example, to, from, as, with, and for are 5 identities of sequence nature that are bonded. As this identity of relationship to itself, and as the value of that becomes manifest more and more, as more and more temporary / lasting identities of value progression, as its value progression, as forever nature. So identity is this identity of volume as a science, as forever nature. It is not asking faith. It is asking faith to keep it sequence true. None of them could do it. States, areas, all locations, already criminally foreign influenced, positive treatments, defenses of reactions to things that to the real causes of negative value nature progression nature's already invested to themselves too. Defenses of that can't defend that, and us from what exploits it. No science real ever spoke. Prepare no joke, but ready game /s. So is there YouTube algorithm? Is there a YouTube watcher or with a channel who would set up their area? I'm saying we have to claim ourselves forsaken. Every area, let alone we have to start most forsaken. And this is not just to claim forsaken. With this is this is to claim before the method that American history is really about countering. Not the countering an identity of a nation, individually grouped together, countering uses of that remote since before our founders' births. Uses of our founders' identity still forestall. For if George Washington said, that's what I was told when I was in school that George Washington said he did not chop down a cherry tree, and he did chop it down. CT, cherry tree. George Washington had to come to Wethersfield, Connecticut, CT, right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, and had to leave entrenched overt slavery. He had to leave entrenched all kinds of crazy laws against everyone. He had to leave entrenched already all the sciences, identities of a negative criminal identity racketeering, victims but victim predators, criminal sadist natures, wrongdoers, worse. So It's all rehearsed, boxings. So then, what about the businesses that are around these forsaken areas? How are they going to do business? We'll make a conversion packet with it. These people are already business people. All we have to do is keep it real, because none have done that. Real always. Not denying exceptions, not denying, not sequence shifting, not making opinions when people say this is what is real. That are using physical delusions. In that theater only let heard, self-valued that way. You may pray. This is also because we have to counter how when it comes down to it, where and as and how the branches are victims, even though they're victim predators, it's still also having been used remote since before computer definitions of the word remote, electronic definitions. Before that, these are database relationships kept live progressions further and further onto the identity ground locations, Native Americans A through Z. Blame the real cause of negative value nature progression. What are the real causes of it? The perfection of the zenith already attained by ancients before semi-ancient criminal reengineering, by ancients that really revealed what really revealed the sophistication of the ancient republic. It was the humanity before criminal foreign influences, criminally reengineered, took everyone to rolls with it, not realizing the integrity of the sciences that knew how to use the identity of relativity onto and as the value of the identity of forever nature that is inseparable from each identity of temporary slash lasting value slash value progression. Value as identity. So it's not only that they don't let free speech, they don't let it on time. It's not just that they're hurting kids real quick on and off campuses. It's because they're timing that so when they're having in background trying to pretend they have integrity on and off campuses in relationship to the people with the jobs on and off those locations, they were victim predators used to keep remote what was originally and still. Not on the records, not off the records known. Come on. So we'll examine how we have cars, but we have self-valued zoning laws, pathology of infrastructure of means to it, and from a tactically denatured native base. Self-value, you can't self-value that and teach about James Madison, Marbury versus Madison. Teach about witch trials properly. Otherwise, teach about overt criminal enterprises. They blame the real causes of negative predicate acts on criminal enterprises wrong because they've been roles furthering them the most on and off criminal justice campuses, on and off every campus. Forgiveness is for this, all broke. And nature shows it out. It is no joke. It only feels like games. Who trains? We play to see. Campus Marcius calls you through the breeze. So all I have to do is believe in me. More, I'm not believing me. Believe in this plan. But I'm saying believe in me. That's what my agenda is here, and I'm going to make sure it'll be transparent. I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm not no one trying to give. But someone contact me in the comment section, and I'll watch your videos. And then I'll give you guys, like, in other words, the Republic organization, coalition. And say, in other words, you tell them we're gonna make a business together. And we're gonna counter the unnatural, the tactically unnatural impositions upon us, neighbors, family, friends, that were not forced, that were designed to cause us to need to blame something for them, but to only be capable of blaming other things, others themselves. So rather than that's forced by obligations to need to do it peacefully with words. So you're preventing people words, rolls with it, opinions. So I'm gonna give them words, and we're gonna take manifest. So we're gonna make three identities of branches. For example, and we're gonna teach about this is about the Republic liberation. So we'll mean stack games. We'll mean stack preemptive counters to anything that might go wrong. We're going to make everyone love that you're going to rise and better. That way. How could it not work? No, that's why they're hiding and lie, pretending offensively they're about positive tactically, separating subjects, pretend that's legitimate business. All private interbranch collusion, preventing mandated law, uses of pretending they don't realize. How come you didn't say anything? They know that such was said, such was confessed. They have confessions involved with this. They make confessions into context they can't, and that's the only context no people in. And they make those you can't. They couldn't. They can. They already invested themselves lying. They painted themselves into corners. Our branches of government. They already used all locations, other people's names. They already used each identity, the science, pseudo positive. Yes. Campus Marcius rises in these. We'll go right through them. Who trains? So all we need is free speech. We have also instant press, instant journalism. We are the science, the one admitting what is actually going to cause evolution's fruits and gifts. The one discerning the lie progressions focused on you guys like a weapon. The areas like with those big people stacking apartments. So we take those negatives and we reveal where and how. Not just make negative positive out of negative. Reveal the identity that stays positive unto itself increasingly, unceasingly. How it reveals perfection of the perfect world from the zenith, from our quality of fact-achieving nature, which we take complete possession of here through its course on too long, forbid vaccines. We tell them how to think and how to talk because they're victims. That's why Jesus Christ says we need to have forgiveness so we can have this quality of fact-achieving nature. It is recorded that no one could stand. They writhe before they could stand basic, calm communications about the first part of the Quran, the first part of the Old Testament. The same people who love them. Those books. Boxing. So don't disbelieve. Don't disbelieve. Because prayer too, we were going to use a method of prayer by correlation that is science, not asking faith, but it reveals evolution's fruits and gifts. The method, ancient. Boxing is ancient too. The Queensberry rules that note that came around the time of slavery. Boxing came from the ancient campus Marcius. Yin Yang is ancient. Yin Yang came since before modern religions were even born. English, there are proofs English was revealed ancient times since before the messengers of religion. That's why Jesus Christ had the capital A on the left side of his head, capital W on the right side. They they not only tactically pseudo-educated everyone. They knew that the roles were the defenses of the educate as they educated with anything other than this science of the zenith, A through zenith, A through Z, alpha through zenith. It is this identity of forevers. Identity of relationship to itself, bigger than infinity, and making more of itself through and as each temporary slash lasting identity of forever of infinity nature, which is identity of sequence nature. And this is the science of where and how there is no negative to it, will only stay positive. This is where and as and how the exceptions in exception nature reveal that and how and why it's most probable that we are the inherent, we're closest to the greatest inherent nature of volume in relationship to its identity of relationship to itself. Where the inherent active and progressive are itself, is itself, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously. And that keeps becoming more and more identities of relationships to itself. That keeps gaining its self-generating identity of volume as each thing at once. Boxings to campus dance with stolen name, will train. So you know how many people will help you guys out? Not just me. And we'll help the whole world because we don't know how everything. We're gonna change it for everyone because that's what this does. Science using identity, the ground native pure. And we need we couple that with efforts to recruit Native Americans. Maybe what can we do for them that will be symbiotic? We'll work with the Republic Organization Coalition. We're setting up a boxing, a method of self-defense. We're setting up. We're going to do school projects, whatever it takes. Well, who's in one of those positions? All you have to do is admit it. Reality, not the reality at the end of the whip, as they kept us all. Even 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 where nature is not overtly tactically criminally denatured, everywhere is. We're in a semi-nature trap designed to keep each location, area, and state of and as in each modern nation standing lie progression cover-up natures, standing criminal and citizenship natures, standing identity of relationships to the identity of value progression that we use God as a variable in relationship to. This is the identity that ratiocination and that pseudo ratiocination share simultaneously. Not doctor, not police form, not criminal. I'll delineate the delusions from the criminal forward influences, as you will too. This is American history, Maxine. So someone respond.